It is our traditions, ceremonies, and rituals. Each small detail carries a deep layer of our ancestors' wisdom. It is our pride, our treasure, our national encyclopedia. Let's turn the pages of this encyclopedia together. On today's program, Shanyrak, symbol of life. Akbasara, sacred threshold. Interior designed with certain purpose. Yurt stands out as a special invention among the inventions presented by nomads. It is a portable round tent covered with skins or felt and used as a dwelling by nomads. It is a legacy of not only the Kazakhs but of all Turkic people. However, we can proudly say that the Kazakhs preserved yurt in its original form without changing its essence. And this is wonderful, considering the fact that now we have sedentary lifestyle. We live in cities and build modern houses using bricks and concrete slabs. What Kazakh rituals and signs are associated with the felt house? We will tell about this in today's release of our program. I saw enormous tents on wheels. It was like they were built and placed in airspace. I saw large houses with windows covered with felt curtains. They were very beautiful and skillfully built. This is how the Persian traveler of the 16th century, Rusbehan, described yurts at Han's headquarters. Kazakh yurt can be considered a mobile home. Our ancestors had nomadic lifestyle, and yurt was an ideal dwelling which could be quickly disassembled and assembled when it was needed to move to a new place. The origin of yurt dates back to the early stages of our era, when people used two-wheeled carts.
Сол кезеңнен ерте кезеңнен біздің эрамыздың бірінші ғасырынан тіпті бастайды кейбір зерттеулерде.
During some periods, the Kazakhs had 6-winged, 8-winged, and even 12-winged yurts. Kazakh yurt consists of an expanding wooden circular frame carrying a felt cover. Its expanding lattice wall sections are called kerege, which are held together with one or several ropes or ribbons and bent roof poles, urk. The size of the yurt is determined by the number of these ropes, or in other words, the wings. Most of yurts used by the Kazakhs were 6- and 8-winged. Rich people and sultans had bigger dwellings. Their yurts were up to 12 wings. 6-winged yurts had kerege, which can be assembled and disassembled in parts. They could be from 3.5 to 4 meters long. Nowadays, only few Kazakhs know how to assemble yurts, but almost everyone knows that Shanyrak, dome, and yesek, door, are the important parts in its design. They are the most sacred parts. The Kazakhs usually call Shanyrak wheel of the sun, and for the nomad it was the symbol of life. The spherical dome of the dwelling is a celestial eternal vault. Nomads believed that the connection of generations always was eternal. For modern Kazakhs, Shanyrak still symbolizes the continuation of generation and family. May your Shanyrak be high. Such wish is told at every Kazakh wedding. A century ago, life in yurt always began with a very important ritual. A young kelin, daughter-in-law, got up first and opened Shanyrak to let the rays of the sun light the house. The modern Kazakhs still remember this duty of kelin, who is responsible for comfort and warmth in home. It is noteworthy that Shanyrak was passed from generation to generation as heritage. The accumulation of stains of smoke could show the age of Shanyrak. Shanyrak became darker because of smoke passing through it. That's why we still call parents' home, our family home, Kara Shanyrak. Even during the difficult times, Shanyrak had never been burned down or left in the steppe. According to the stories of the elders, it was not customary to talk when they placed the symbol of the sun, Shanyrak, during assembling of yurt. It was believed that there must be silence during arranging a great thing. Our ancestors called the border between the inner world in-house and the exterior unknown world Akbosara, sacred threshold. While assembling yurt, first they put a door jamb and frame. Amulets were hung on doors, and the doors, yesek, were painted with signs protecting from evil eye and spirits. In ancient times, there was a rite. When you enter yurt, you should first step your right foot over the threshold. Nowadays, people say if you step on the threshold, you can offend the owner. But initially, this action had different meaning. To step on the threshold means that you have very sad news to say to this house. In old days, the messenger stepped on the threshold before telling about the death of certain person. Thus, the threshold of yurt was made high to escape the spell. You should bend your head while entering yurt. Its door is constructed in such way. The lintel was made low and the threshold high. In old days, the inflated stomach of the animal was tied to Shanyrak. Our ancestors believed that this would lead to wealth and prosperity. Another sign is that children were forbidden to run around the yurt. Bahit Kairbekov writes in his book World of Nomads. Thus, they are making the same actions as shamans. They take responsibility for the fate of this house, all its problems and troubles, and this, of course, can affect their health. Most of the Kazakhs follow certain rules of etiquette at dastarkhan, table, and reception of guests, and do not even think that these rules were used by our ancestors when they lived in yurts. For example, I pay attention to some things, and it's okay because many people do not remember how to do everything correctly, but here the main thing is to follow rules of etiquette. Let's consider the concept tur. It is an honorable place in house. A guest is offered to take seat on this honorable place around dastarkhan. But its meaning has been forgotten. The meaning is that there is a threshold in the bottom of the yurt, and tur is the highest place in yurt. To invite a guest to sit on tur is to wish him or her career advancement. Some families still arrange one of wedding rites Otka Maikoyu, pouring melted grease into the fire. In old days, this rite was arranged in yurt near the hearth. The bride should have touched the lintel with her forehead, stepped over the threshold with her right foot, and bowed down to her father-in-law. Her mother-in-law passed melted grease, and the bride poured it into the fire. At the time of arranging this rite, they used to say, "Goddess of the fire, Mother Umay, bless young family." Nowadays, many restaurants, cafes, and tea houses are built with design of yurt. These are the most popular places for weddings, for celebration of Tusaukisier and Sundet Toy. If you want, you can rent a real felt yurt. Fortunately, traditions of its manufacturing and decoration have been preserved in Kazakhstan. There is a certain order of assembling yurt. Yurt is assembled by several people. The Kazakhs knew the order of assembling. For example, if a person does not have experience, he cannot assemble yurts. First, it is needed to lay down kirige and fix them, and only after this you can raise the dome of yurt. Shanyrak is raised with the help of special equipment. And if yurt is large, for example, 12-winged one, then Shanyrak is raised with the help of horses. A felt cover is the best thing for nomadic lifestyle. Nowadays, we use air conditioners to cool the room and heaters to warm it up. But in ancient times, during hot seasons, nomads used to lift the felt about a meter, and thus yurt could be ventilated. When the weather got cold, walls covered with felt saved from rains and winds. step cane was used as an additional layer of insulation and it resisted dust penetration. Even nowadays, a mobile house is valued in many countries for the feature of keeping heat, compactness during transportation, easy assembling and disassembling. For example, many Americans like yurt and they even built a factory for yurt manufacturing. They assemble yurt in the forest or on the shore to take rest and meditate. The hearth was put in the center of yurt. There was kazan, cauldron, on tripods. On the right side of the hearth, there was the owner's bed. By the way, a guest could not sleep on this bed, otherwise happiness could leave the house. A baby cradle was also put here, and the left eastern side of yurt was considered female side. It was side of unmarried women, daughters or sisters of the owner. There is a certain order of the interior decoration of yurt. Chests are always placed on honorable parts of yurt. There can be wooden chests, chests made of felt, and different items can be put on them. The number of chests could show the wealth and status of the owner. Adalbakan is a hanger, one of the types of furniture used in yurt. It was always put on the left of entrance. And if you see it on tör, honorable place, it is on the right side. Another item of furniture is kebije. It is a chest for food storage. And it also has its own place in yurt. Kebije was put near the threshold, to the left of entrance, and if you look from tör, it is on the right. The Kazakhs kept all the best items and delicious food in the chests and cupboards. This was needed to receive and serve guests. Even nowadays, this tradition of Kazakh hospitality is followed by all Kazakhs. To the left of the entrance, there was a wooden bed of the owners of the house. This bed was behind the curtain. A large yurt was divided into several rooms by curtains. For example, there are houses that are close to each other, so the Kazakhs used to put two yurts together. If there was a lady who was going to marry, her part of yurt was separated with curtain, or sometimes there was a separate yurt. This is the origin of such signs, as one cannot sit down on the bed of a young lady. Nomads and the Mongols had such superstition. Even if curtain was not hung, her bed was separated with thread. Lady's father used to make a wooden frame of yurt, furniture and utensils as dowry for his daughter. Mother of the future bride used to prepare bedding, but Shanyrak was always put by the groom. This was his responsibility, as he was going to be the head of the young family. The Kazakhs called yurt of newlyweds otal. Most of people still call newlyweds house like this. The Kazakhs always assembled six-winged yurt for a young family. Shanyrak for yurt of newlyweds was provided by the groom's side. Of course, dowry given to the bride from the rich family was decorated with silver, ornaments, and so on. But the bride's side never gave Shanyrak. Kazakh yurt still makes an unforgettable impression on travelers and tourists of the 21st century. The examples of marquee architecture are the impressive Khan Shatru complex in Astana and the great building of the Kazakh Circus in Almaty. Every museum and local history research center of the country has the reconstruction of Nomad's house. It is noteworthy that nowadays shepherds assemble yurts on summer pastures. Yurt is also assembled in the cities during any celebration. By the way, the most ambitious presentation of Kazakh yurt was made in the summer of 2017, when the National Cultural Complex Ethna Aul was built for numerous guests of the Expo in Astana. This ancient dwelling of nomads is the pride and the great cultural attribute of the Kazakh people. The Kazakh village does not exist in the way it used to be, and there are no nomads, wandering people. But most of prairie folkways and traditions still surround us. We follow them, but we not always know what they mean. Bahit Kairbekov, poet.